Okay, guys, we are live. I was going to say Wednesday night. It's Tuesday night, and
Wish it
we have a lot to
was.
talk about. I wish it was. Yeah, well, we'd be getting ready to watch Atletico, Liverpool. We wouldn't be fucking here probably. But anyway, Saturday we're going to have a chat about before we lead into the Liverpool Atletico game on tomorrow night, which is a huge, huge game, and with West Ham to finish off before the international break. But we're going to have a little chat about the Liverpool-Brighton game. They didn't brighten up my weekend, which I hope they would have. They started well, but faded. Second half was absolutely terrible. One of the worst second halves I've seen at Anfield in a long time, actually. Listen, we're still unbeaten. We can't be all, totally Twitter, TikTok fan, Instagram fan type, giving out about it. But I was disappointed. I have to say that. Keith, the game on Saturday, 2-0 up, looking like 3 points in the bag. We could have lost that game. We could have actually lost it.
I've watched it a couple of times now at this stage, and we can always be very quick to dismiss our own performance on the day, and we get onto that now in a second, to be honest with you. But you have to hand a huge amount of credit to the way Brighton approached the game. Now, whether or not they smelled blood when they saw the starting lineup, they've also come to us last year and got a result, and they've got 4 points off us last year, right? So there's no fear there, and they played that game like they had no fear. Now listen, we're not at our best, right? And we could maybe get on to maybe some of the reasons why, after a really promising start, we didn't kind of finish the job. But before we went 2-up, they had a huge amount of chances, and they played. They were brilliant, to be honest with you. Really good one-touch football round the corner. People showing for the ball. Weren't in awe of the occasion, weren't in awe of us whatsoever. And it would kind of remind you of how we have played in the past, going to very big stadiums. Where like it reminded me maybe of how we played when we went to City that time in the Champions League, and how we went and approached our games against City, whereby, we were happy enough to be brave on the ball, play the ball around that front press. And then we knew that as soon as we got past that initial press, there was very little in midfield to help us out that day, right? Very little. And as soon as Naby went off, there was very little protection. And I hope to God, as long as I live, I never see that midfield again, to be honest with you, because it doesn't suit how we play football. It just simply doesn't suit. There's not enough press. There's not enough aggression. One tackle after Naby went off tells you, speaks volumes in terms of that midfield, right? So we and I think some of the focus is maybe looking at the defense in terms of, some of the focus is maybe looking at the defense, and is the defense good enough and all that kind of stuff. But if you allow lads to run at you 3-on-2, 4-on-2 with midfield cut up against the ball, it's going to happen. They're going to create chances. So I think a huge amount of credit needs to go to Brighton for how they approach the game. They've obviously seen the starting lineup. They've got some. I suppose they've played us there over the last season, got 4 points, so there's no fear there, and they played that game. So huge amount of respect to them. However, 2-up at Anfield, that should never happen. It's as simple as that. Now, I think if one of those third goals, I think they were good enough for 2 goals. If the Mane goal goes in or the other goal goes in without VAR, well, then 3-2 is probably good enough, and we probably should have been looking to get a 3-2. But we didn't on the day, and they probably the far better of the second half. So we've probably come out of it having a very bad day at the office with a point.
Yeah.
That's my 2 points.
Ivan, would you concur?
I would absolutely concur. I can't believe how bad the second half was. And I think when Naby did go off, we were a shadow of ourselves. And when you miss one player, it kind of highlights the deficiencies in some of the others. And you can see then Henderson at a 6, he's good there, was found out again. Curtis and Ox together, not good enough. And then it kind of highlighted some concerns I'd have at centre half with that partnership with Van Dijk and with Konate. But again, I he didn't look at it. Having had such a great game against United the previous week. Now whether there was a kind of a bit of a lull after the United game, I don't know, or a little bit of a come down after the United game, I don't know. Great that City dropped points. Great that we're still only 3 points behind Chelsea. So it doesn't do a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But with Fabinho missing, with Keita out, Thiago, the others, that midfield, as that those individuals in midfield, it's not right, and I think that's probably was the root of the root of the problem.
Jackie boy, what did you think? What was your synopsis of the game?
Yeah, the lads are spot on, and everyone in the comments as well, mate. I was very concerned. I don't know if the cameras picked up on it at home. The amount of times Jurgen Klopp had to speak to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain like he was a little kid on the halfway line to say, right, you do this, you do that, you do this. Mate, you're playing in the Premier League, one of the biggest leagues in Europe. Jurgen Klopp, yes, he's a coach and all that, but we said at the start of the season, it says a lot when Jurgen Klopp's picking an 18-year-old over Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And for me, I've been one of Ox's biggest fans since he come to Liverpool. Got the injuries, but when's the penny going to drop with this lad? Yes, it looks to me, I don't know if you lads or everyone at home, if it translates that he's scared to get injured again, so he's not putting a foot in, really. But for me, deeply disappointing from Ox. Hang on 1 second. So it's disappointing. Curtis Jones, I'm not going to say a word because he's 20 years old. He's got a lot of development to do, and he tried his best. But as Ivan mentioned, Fabinho, when he doesn't play, we've got no replacements. Henderson's not a out-and-out defensive midfielder. Plays better than the 8 or the 6 role, kind of in between there. But yeah, it's very concerning if Liverpool don't have our main 3. Well, everyone's got the different varieties. Who's the best 3? But when, like it was out with our defence last season, our midfield's not going to be 100% being able to get selected. And for me, Ox needs to get his act together, and very soon. He needs to.
Yeah. The big thing for me is the lack of control in midfield, to be honest with you, right? Like we've got enough up front to go win games of football, and we built a platform over the last couple of seasons in terms of roles and responsibilities in around the midfield, out of possession with the football. And if you've got Ox, right, tearing after some lads who's playing, at the right full-back position, running in, getting himself overexposed with a little ball around the corner, and then that whole channel is exposed, and the same thing for Curtis, there's lads running past him left, right, and centre. So the level of control when our main guys are not there. And let's be honest about it, lads. Thiago is injury prone. Fabinho gets injured every season. Henderson is no spring chicken, and Milner's no spring chicken, and we haven't replaced Gini, and we've also lost Harvey Elliott as well, to be honest with you. So we're threat, and we've seen it, and we've spoken about it on numerous pods, lads, where we're kind of going, where is the fucking control, lads? When we get into winning positions, we should be killing games off. Like if we're 2 up. Bank at three, close down, press, and we'll get a 3rd and we'll get a 4th on the break. And we're not doing it. We're going gung-ho, we're getting caught out of position, left, right, and fucking centre. And it can't continue, or we're going to get found out this season. You've got with the game management hasn't been there since the start of the season. We said it against Atletico, we've said it time and time again. That
AC
we are
Milan,
not managing games. AC Milan, we're not managing games. We are not managing games whatsoever. And that's my biggest concern, to be honest with you. Now, listen, if we get a good run and all the lads come back, well, then you can see the control kind of coming back in, with Thiago and Fabinho and Henderson. But there is no guarantee we're going to keep those lads fit for the rest of the season. And from my perspective, Ox is a luxury player to come on when you're well on top of the game to maybe get you another goal. Other than that, I don't see the value in what he brings, to be honest with you, unless you're going to play him as an auxiliary part of the front 3. But you cannot play him as part of a central 3, to be honest with you. And listen, some people might disagree with me, but I'm starting to see as well that that Curtis still needs a good bit more development, to be honest with you. And he's probably been thrown in here now a few more games, and he's actually ready for it, to be honest with you, at the moment, because he's getting a little bit found out as well. Like he's been missing now in the last couple of games, to be honest with you. So we need to address that, to be honest with you. We need to address it, and if we do go 2-2, there's no harm whatsoever in just playing the ball around, and bringing them out. Kill the game. Take the passes, take 5 minutes out of the game, and just pass the ball around, because the point in case was against Atletico Madrid. We continuously tried to go for the fucking jugular. As a result, we were turning over the ball with an extra man on the pitch, and they were in against us. And the same thing with Brighton. We just fucking continued to turn over the ball at home at Anfield with the quality of players we have on the pitch. Turnover, in on. We'll be found out, and we'll have a couple of results go against us. And in this league at the moment, the way it is, we're 3 points behind Chelsea. We go 6 points behind Chelsea at some stage. And I think it's a long fucking road back, just the way this league is being set up at the moment. I think it's going to be very fine, small margins this year. Really do.
Yeah, like we've drawn a lot. I was 4 draws now in the league, something like that. Those draws can kill you. Draws can absolutely
Chelsea City,
kill you.
Brighton.
And I think game management is I think I know, but still. Yeah, but they were they're home games, lads. You know what I mean? They're all at home. I'm not saying City and Chelsea are tough games, but Chelsea 10 men second half. City, we were winning 2-1 in that game as well, remember? You know what I mean? We were winning 2-1. We were winning, what was, we weren't winning
1-0 and 2-1.
Chelsea, where we drew 1-1.
Against City.
And then 2-1 again. Yeah. That's what I mean. So, we're letting, even the Brentford game, the 3-3 away at Brentford, that was an away game. We were winning 3-2 in that. They came back. So, the game management is key for me, as Keith says. When you're 2-0 up, especially, it's different. Maybe it's only a goal in it, but when you're 2-0 up, AC Milan, we did the same thing. We pissed on them for the first 20, 25 minutes. Absolutely pissed on them. Could have been 3, 4, 5 up. No one would have said anything about it. As soon as we let in that goal and it went 2-1, we got nervous. We just got nervous.
And by the way, I know we're dumping on the midfield here, lads. Sorry, I'm jumping in again and let you chat now in a second. I know we're dumping on the midfield here as well. But the front three are just going for goals all the time, right? So, which is fair enough, okay? Which is fair enough. But at some point in time, at certain times of the game, where it does feel like, and I don't know whose call this is, whether it's Henderson who needs to call it or Klopp needs to call it from the sideline, but retain possession, right? Don't be trying stupid little fucking flicks. Don't be trying out the magic, the wonder ball. Just retain possession, recycle, retain. You will get your chances to score more goals. You absolutely will. But sometimes you've got to do some stuff for the team, And it just feels to me at the moment that we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all now. It's basketball. It's fucking basketball, football.
No, I know we were against 10 men against United in that second half, or even before the 10 men, when we went 5 up. Like, we can play. Do you know what I mean? We can do it. And we did it. And I know they went down to 10 men then, and it was very easy for us. But we just knocked it around, so it's not like we can't do it. So
no, we can't do it. That's the frustrating thing. And I think the reason we did that against United is that United were going off their feet and there was injuries all over the fucking pitch. And we said, you know what? We're not getting involved in this now, right? We're just going to play the game. 5-0 up, exhibition. Let's not get involved. There was a challenge on Keita, a challenge on Jones, a challenge on Arnold, right? So they were pissed off and they were going for us. And it was almost like, if we just keep the ball away from them, right? They're not going to injure us. Let's not get any more injuries. And I guarantee you that came off the sideline. Didn't happen against Brighton when we're 2 up. Now, maybe we didn't have enough time to maybe think about it, or maybe thought it was a bit easy, or whatever else it is. But game management has to be absolutely...
Yeah, and I think probably a big thing to call out is they probably underestimated Brighton. They probably, when Klopp was talking after the game...
They took 4 points off us last year. They're a bit of a bogey team. I wouldn't say they underestimated.
But last year, I think, is an anomaly, Dave, right? And when Klopp came out and spoke after the game, he said, we should have gone on and won that game by a good number of goals, and we didn't. So I think they possibly underestimated Brighton. Certainly in the second half, I was kind of looking at Canate and Van Dijk, and they looked a little bit shell-shocked. It was like, it just kept coming at them and coming at them and coming at them, and you're kind of going, what's going on here? So there could have been a bit of that, and not giving them the credence that they needed, because like that goal that they had disallowed, it was an absolutely cracking goal, and he was marginally offside. Yeah. They cut through us like butter, literally like butter.
Yeah. Trossard,
Trossard, yeah.
The other thing to bear in mind as well, I'm just saying, there's no guarantee the two boys come back in for tomorrow night are going to be up to speed either. That's going to take a little bit of time.
No,
Fabinho and Thiago.
Yeah.
Spot on, and it was when Trent was going inside against Brighton. I was like, even Trent just give up. He was trying to do Ox's job and Curtis Jones' job, and you're like, where's Trent here? because the out ball for always, even when you played as a kid, it's always out wide, try and stretch your team. And there was no point in time where Van Dijk and Konate were picking up the ball, but you were like, there's no one on the right-hand side.
Trent looked like he was playing at number 10 for the second half.
Yeah. He was like trying to be in two places at one time. And obviously, as you mentioned before, boys, Trossard was getting the freedom of Anfield. And we've seen already this season that teams do like to identify Liverpool's right-hand side due to the extent of how much we do attack down the right-hand side. But it was up to the midfield, whoever you do play. Thiago is very good at it, and Fabinho, he drops into the centre-back areas and then he lets the centre-back split, doesn't he? But I think Henderson was communicating with all of them. It was literally screaming. And there was one moment in time where Robbo, I don't know if it got reported on, but I don't know if it was 100%. He told the crowd supposedly to F off. And the section of the crowd, because the crowd was getting that irritating to him. And we made Latham, we sat by the dugout and he heard him. Like, it was either to the technical staff of the Brighton managers or it was either the crowds. And the crowd, and everyone, we were waiting for the players to do something. Don't get me wrong. The intensity from the crowd does seep onto the pitch, but it's hard when you've got your players pissing about with it in the middle of the park. You're like, Christ, what are you doing? we watched it as well, even in certain games over the last couple of seasons. You're like, what are you doing? Just put your foot through it. If you need to lose possession, get it up the pitch. But yeah,
it's a good point on the right side.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith. There's a good point on the right hand side, Jack. When Henderson isn't playing as the 8 there, Salah obviously wants to come inside. Elliott wanted to come inside when he was playing. Curtis can't really play there. Trent wants to come inside, and then you have nothing. You literally have nothing, and you're exposed defensively, and also that switch ball from Robertson or from Van Dijk on his left isn't there. So you're cutting off a whole heap of stuff there, and it's funny when our players are so suited. Certainly our midfielders, they seem so suited to one position. Do you know what I mean? That when they go into another one, they're a shadow of themselves, particularly the likes of Henderson and Fabinho and others. But I think like Klopp is obviously he must be fully aware of it, and he's encouraging it, because there's no way in the world Alexander-Arnold was as far forward and not getting it in the ear from Klopp, because he was there for most of the second half.
But
as Liz Golden says, sorry Keith, as Liz Golden says, like and share the stream, folks. The more people hit the like button, the more people come in, the more comments, the longer we stay. Simple as that. Go ahead.
But there was no option. There was no plan B. There was no other option but to play that midfield as soon as Casey got injured. So that was it. That's what we're left with, and that's the big concern. You can see this happening again at other points in the season. I could absolutely see Fabinho getting injured again. I can absolutely see Thiago getting injured again, right? So like, and Case is out for a couple of weeks now. So like we've got a midfield, and you can see this happening again, lads. You can absolutely see this happening again. And from my perspective, if we get into situations like that, we should be looking at some sort of a diamond. Okay, so. We should be looking at a diamond. So we should be looking at, bringing at least maybe sacrificing somebody up front and bringing Firmino on and bringing him back into the midfield as the fulcrum in that diamond, and have Henderson, if that's the case, on that, and then you have the other two boys either side. At least then it condenses the pitch, and then you've got a lot more time then for, it's a defensive thing. The two lads, you're two up, okay? Let's get the diamond in place, get the lads to defend, and then you've got 4 across the back with a diamond in position, and you still have your opportunity to create something for the boys. But if that happens again, we have to start thinking like that in terms of our game management. Now, I think there's an awful lot of,
but it's happened a few times, Keith. It's happened about 4 or 5 times. Like
it does, but I think, in fairness to Saturday, it's very rare that happens at Anfield, right? It's very rare that happens at Anfield where we cough up a 2-0 lead without scoring a third and a fourth, right? So I think there's a large to that, and maybe there was a lesson learned, and we'll see what happens the next time. See what happens the next time at home. That doesn't happen at home or very rarely happens at home when we're 2 up. In the league against, a team like Brighton. Listen, they're doing very well this season, but generally 2 up against Brighton at home, you would
Oh,
9
should have been
times
home,
and win it. You know, and I think there's a bit of complacency there, to be honest with you, in terms of what we did the weekend. Hopefully, we'll learn from that. All right.
Right, well then we'll move on from that. Obviously, that's over. We got the point. Yeah, and we're still unbeaten in the league, which is unbelievable, lads. Let's put it into perspective. Tomorrow night, game week 4, Atletico Madrid. Of course, we beat them. Probably a little bit fortunate to beat them 3-2. If you remember, Griezmann was sent off the second half, a late penalty from Mosalah, and we beat them 3-2 at their ground, which is some result because they're rarely. I think it was the first time in 2 years we were beaten there. So if we win tomorrow night, we're more or less done and dusted. And as you said, Keith, we can probably rest players and not play the likes of Fabinho in the last 2, Champions League games. Give them a bloody rest. So I think we have to go at them tomorrow night because they're under pressure, Atletico Madrid, to get a result. They've only got 4 points. So they've lost 1, drew 1, and won. And they were lucky even to win the 1 they won because it was a 97-minute penalty, I think, against AC Milan. So they'll come to Anfield tomorrow night. Even with Griezmann is obviously missing. So what do you do tomorrow night? Do you play a similar team? Fabinho, Thiago. Fabinho looks like he's a cert to start. Thiago, I think I don't have any choice. We might have to play the 2 of them. What do you think tomorrow night?
Yeah. In relation to them, mate, we have to start Fabinho because if Simeone, pretty sure, would have watched a couple of videos of the Brighton game and he would have been like, oh, if you play that midfield, you'll have Koke and Carrasco and everyone running an absolute riot at Anfield tomorrow night, mate. We've got to start Fabinho, or even, I know it's not ideal, but Joel Matip in the future, in a couple of months, if we need to, he's got possibilities there. He hasn't played central defensive midfielder since the Schalke days, but he has that ability to be able to play there. Not ideal, but for me, Milner out, boys?
I think he's out.
He's out. Yeah, so I was going to even say, because Milner was so integral a couple of weeks ago, so it's not going to be easy. And I think if we can get a goal, I know you're speaking about Atletico coming out, Dave, but I don't think they will. Even though they've been playing a bit more attacking this season, if you read the reporting, which the Spanish journalists, obviously the way they've been playing this season, mate, but it depends how the Porto and Milan game is going. Obviously, I think Porto were on 4 points with Atletico, but if Porto were leading, say, a half-time against Milan, then you will see a more aggressive Atletico Madrid, especially if Liverpool are in a much more commanding position, mate. But it's exciting, and the crowd will be up for it, and every single one of you around the world. It's revenge. Obviously, we want revenge for obviously them knocking us out the Champions League or the year before.
2 seasons ago.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago. So, but it's going to be an aggressive game.
So what would you do, Keith? What midfield would you go with? I suppose even the defence, we don't know what team he's going to go with tomorrow night. I'd say he goes strong. He has to go strong.
Yeah, I think he'd look to go strong, to be honest with you, to kind of maybe put it to bed if we can, and then that gives us a bit of breathing space, going forward, particularly with the kind of injury list that we have. The only real, if Fabinho is fit, I don't think he starts Thiago, to be honest with you, in this game. I think he might keep him for West Ham. I think the only real position, there's 2 positions up for debate. Centre forward, I suppose, the 9, and then the left hand side of midfield. I'd put Fabinho, if he's fit, back in as 6. I put Henderson on the right, and if I've got Henderson playing and I've got Fabinho playing, I've no issue throwing Jones in there and put Jones on the left hand side.
That's what he will do, I think.
Yeah, and then for this kind of game, with the kind of football that we have, I don't know. It is an absolute coin toss between Jota and Firmino, to be honest with you. I do think we'll have a lot of the ball. I think they play in moments, to be honest with you. They're not going to change the way they play. They're very dogged, they're very resolute. They'll close down the space, they'll close down the channels, and then they look to exploit, to be honest with you. They look to exploit when they do get some good ball, to be honest with you. So it's all about us, to be honest with you. Yeah. If it was an absolute boring 0-0 draw tomorrow night, we walk away with a point, I think that's probably all right as well, and I'd be happy.
And no injuries, no more fucking injuries.
So like a draw, any type of a draw is all right. Listen, I think we could nick it. I think we could nick it, but if it's a kind of a draw, I've no issue with that. I think that pretty much secures us. Our passage through with the 2 games that we have left into into the knockout stages, and doesn't do an awful lot for them either, to be honest with you. So
No.
it's that kind of thing. But that's it for me. And at the back, to be honest with you, I think Matip comes in, to be honest with you, for this kind of game.
Yeah.
I'd play Matip, and I'd play the same.
Would you play Tsimikas instead of Robertson?
No, not for this. I'll tell you what I would do, though. I'd play him the weekend. I'd play him against West Ham. I would. I absolutely would at that ground. Absolutely would. Particularly that big open ground and set piece. That absolutely. Listen, I think he'll play one of the next two. By the way, and I think it might be West Ham.
Okay, West Ham's another podcast, as they say, probably Thursday night. But so Ivan, I mean, I think there could be 2 or 3 changes tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fabinho, I think comes in. I think he comes in. He looked good in training. I seen him today. He looks.
I think
good.
he has to come in.
I think
like,
he comes in.
I absolutely love Atletico Madrid, or just everything about them. They're the ultimate shithouse team.
I fucking hate them.
But obviously when they're playing us, I'm not into them. But just everything about them, the fact that they got Suarez, the way they play. I think Keith's point on them playing in moments is what epitomizes them for me, right? So we were all over them for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I was going to go, this is going to be a cricket score. And next thing, they ghost him behind us.
Bang, bang, bang.
Griezmann, Van Dijk doesn't even see Griezmann coming past him, and he scored. And that's the kind of quality that they have. And Jack's called out a couple of other players there, Carrasco and a few others. They are a top side. And there's a reason why he's the highest paid coach in the world, because he's a fucking brilliant coach. And he knows exactly what the system is. And his players know exactly what to do when something happens on the pitch. If they go a goal down, they're in the referee's ear. If there's an injury, they're on the ground, they're rolling around, they're looking for penalties. I think it's a superb way they go about trying to get a result. But to me, tomorrow the key is Fabinho, because Fabinho at a 6 will allow Henderson to play on the right, and to Keith's point, he can stick in Curtis there, and he has the 2 more senior players beside him. And he played really well in some of the European games with them. I think was it Porto he came on. In the second half, I thought he was really good, and I thought he was really good against United as well when he's got those stronger kind of players beside him. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it.
And Suarez will start tomorrow night. He didn't start in the other game. Well, Griezmann's out, so there's even a better chance that Suarez will start.
Is Suarez out? I think Suarez is out, is he? He got suspended. I'm not too sure 100% on that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Does he not know? Oh, so
I think so.
Wishful thinking, Jack.
Yeah.
All the Liverpool players are wearing those American football pads for their shoulders in case he bites them. You know those?
Yeah. Well, like, just bring some food on for them at half time. But yeah, it's if he is playing, he'll thrive in that atmosphere, especially if he is getting booed. And he will most definitely be getting booed.
He's a dirty bastard.
Yeah, he'll love it. We had him for a couple of years, didn't he? He's a magician on the pitch. But he's an absolute nutter.
But you could see when he came on in the last game, he didn't do anything. He was just in the referee's face, just constantly you know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He's like a little terrier. He's like a little dog terrier out in the park, always annoying people at their ankles, biting them, and he's a little fucker. He is. But as you said, he was brilliant for us. But he is the personification. He is the personification of Atletico Madrid, because that's exactly the way Atletico Madrid are.
Yeah.
And Simeone,
his desire to win at any cost is admirable. To be honest with you, if we had it, we'd be fucking applauding him from a height, to be honest with you. He's just the epitome of shithousery, and we loved every minute of him when we had him with us. So it's very difficult for us to turn around and say, you know what? But listen, it all adds to the theatre of the occasion, to be honest with you, doesn't it? So
it does, and I'm looking forward to it because, as you said, Jack, we owed them one at Anfield. It'd be great to do a double over Atletico Madrid. It really would. They're Spanish champions, lads.
Totally, yeah.
They are probably the best team in Spain. I mean, Barcelona are all over the shop.
Top side.
Top side.
If that comment is right from Jamie there, that they only sold 200 tickets, fucking hell, you won't even hear them. Hear them. So they're not going to be able to do all the theatrics and get in them. They don't have that crowd behind them, and Simeone be running up down the wing doing this. Fucking no one.
If he starts
in the corner,
if you start, you'll see me sprint across the pitch, mate. I'll have a word with him.
Are you going to the match, Jack? Are you going to the match?
Yeah.
You jammy bastard, you.
It's my first European game in a very long time.
Oh, very nice. What a good game to go to. What a game to go to. Just
lucky.
before we go, does Jota? I think Jota has a shout tomorrow night. I really do. I think Jota, maybe even Salah, and maybe Mane in the bench. I think Jota has a chance tomorrow night. I really do.
I'd personally start him. Not that Bobby. I know a lot of people weren't impressed with Bobby against Brighton. I think a lot of players didn't have the best game against Brighton, especially in that second half. But yeah, Jota, mate, give him a run out, and it's gonna be one of those games that are gonna be tight, cagey, small moments within the game. We know Jota, if he gets in between the box, he'll get a goal, mate. But for me personally, I'd start Jota with obviously Mane and Salah, mate.
I just think they're a tough nut to crack. And I think maybe Fabinho gives us a little bit more in terms of trying to unlock them. That's the only reason I've gone for him over Jota. I just think he might be able to do something a little bit, different to what Jota brings. I do think Jota's fantastic, and he does play very well between. But I don't know if this is the game for him, to be honest with you. I think I might plumb for Bobby.
But he'd also second half, like if it's still tight and we've Thiago on the bench, what I would have loved to have seen and what he was brought in for
Brighton would have been good.
Was playing Thiago that little bit further forward. Do you know what I mean? And maybe playing him as a false nine there, for those little balls too, because that's where you get at them. I'd love to see Thiago play that little bit further forward. I really would.
Will Klopp do it though?
I don't know.
Will Klopp do it? That's the bleeding question, isn't it? As you say, lads, we have two big games tomorrow night at Anfield, of course, Atletico, and then a big game away on Sunday. It's the last game before the international break. That's a tough game. West Ham are brilliant. That's a hard game. So I think if we can come out of these two games, then the international break, but no more bloody injuries, especially in midfield. And, maybe beat West Ham. We have a decent record at West Ham recently.
We do.
And get some sort of a result. Even a draw wouldn't be the end of the world tomorrow night. I'd like to beat them, though. Let's be fair. I'd like to beat them at Anfield. You got to win your own games.
Yeah.
But
listen, they have to come out. They're going to have to come out at some stage because I don't think a draw is good enough for them, right? So, we need to be clever. With that, when they do come out to play, we're there to punish them. To be honest with you, so it could be one of those games where we just have to be very patient. Let's just be patient. Let's not do anything stupid, not give them any silly goals. Don't give them a head start. Give a head start, it's going to be very difficult for us to come back, as we know, against them. So let's just box clever, and play the long game. They're going to have to come out and start playing at some stage. And I think once they start to come out, that'll open up some space in behind. And hopefully that's when we go ahead. But gung-ho from the start, I don't think it's the way to play these boys, to be honest with you.
I think Liverpool will go gung-ho. Wednesday night under the lights at Anfield.
We may not have any choice. We may not have any choice.
They always do, Keith. First 10, 15, straight fucking at them. That's what Klopp
Controlled aggression, Dave. Controlled aggression.
But as you said earlier on, the game management has gone out of our game this season. Never mind bleeding one or two games. It's actually gone out. So the question is, will the game management kick in tomorrow night if we go 1-0 up with fucking 20 minutes to go? I'll be going on my long walk. You know what I mean? So I just don't know. It's going to be interesting. As you say, it's not end of the season thing where if we lose, we're gone. But I want to get it over as soon as possible. It just gives us that little bit of breathing space. We can rest players, give some younger players some 100%. Champions League football at San Siro. At the San Siro,
wouldn't that be brilliant? Do you know what I mean? And I mean that genuinely. Like if we have a game to spare, and you look at how some of those kids came on last week in the crowd,
Tyler Martin looks a proper player, doesn't he?
Yeah. So it would be superb.
Imagine him starting at San Siro. I think it's the last game, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, hopefully you're done and dusted by then. Beautiful.
Listen, if we have to put the kids out, and it gives AC Milan to out qualify Atletico, sure.
Yeah, I can just imagine Jaeger and Pep going.
That's fucking shit misery right there.
I think it'd be more Porto though, because AC Milan, you have one fucking point. That's shite.
I said if. Let's dream. Let's dream a little.
Right, guys, I think we'll leave it there. Just before we go, Jack, I think you tweeted something earlier. Was it you said something? You did a show about Jude Bellingham being heavily linked to Liverpool.
Oh, yeah. He tweeted yesterday and then got told off by Dortmund's press office because he replied. Don't know if he's taking a mickey.
Yeah, he retweeted it, didn't he? He retweeted it.
He had to. Someone replied saying, one of the fans on Twitter, retweet with a gif of you laughing if you agree, if you join in Liverpool, and he did. And then a couple of minutes later, he took it down.
That was his fucking agent. That was his agent.
But yeah,
you know what I mean? PR.
What a player. We've just been a good 20, 30 minutes into this episode. We've been speaking about midfielders. And a midfielder, if we could somehow get hold of him.
I do like him. I like him.
Good player.
Cost an arm and a leg, though. You're talking.
But that's the thing, though, Dave. Like, we're
talking 80 million.
How do we get money in January or in the summer when we didn't have it last summer? Like, what? Other than the fans being back in the stadium, that's not going to generate 80 million quid, right? So, are they suddenly going to start investing in the team now?
Yeah, I think
we want to give Salah his fucking contract first, for fuck's sake.
But he's like your classic FSG model of a player, though.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, there's one player that you'd want to go and whack a load of money on. It's him.
Wonderful footballer. Yeah, wonderful footballer.
And especially given everyone's paid like 60, 100 quid for the brand new kits. I'm pretty sure FSG can afford a couple of million to spend. If they don't, then we'll just have to sell get Eddie Howe appointed at Newcastle if Unai doesn't go there. And then we did flog Eddie Howe, Dominic Solanke and Jordan Ibe for about 50 mil. So fingers crossed we can flog Origi for like 60
That was
mil.
unbelievable. That was unbelievable, wasn't it? Jordan Ibe. I forgot all about him. You know what I mean? Solanke scored a few goals in the Championship.
I did,
yeah.
But
he's doing very well.
Jordan Ibe. I mean, what is going on? You know, the money we got there. Even Brewster done nothing really. Brewster's millions. Made millions on Brewster.
20 million, I think he wanted as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right, guys, I think we'll leave it there, will we? I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I'm going to stick my head on the block and go 2-1 to the Reds. We're at home. It's under the lights. It's Champions League. For anything can happen, as we all know. 2-1 Liverpool. Jackie boy, what do you think?
2-0 being sensible, not like the last couple of predictions.
That is sensible.
2-0.
Captain sensible. Ivan?
I'll go with Jack 2-0. Don't see them scoring against us at home.
Wow. Keith?
Yeah, I think they might score against us. I'm going to go with you, Dave, 2-1.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to keep a clean sheet against these guys. They're nasty. I don't know the bollocks. I hope that Suarez fella doesn't, take too many bites out of us tomorrow night. And we can get the points. The 3 points qualify, relax, look forward to Wednesday for West Ham, and we can take a bite out of a West Ham sandwich on Sunday. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Keith, Ivan, Jack, as usual.
Cheers, mate.
Enjoy. Actually, United are on tonight, aren't they? United are playing.
Honestly, one of the natives, they get beat boys.
Are they losing? Okay. Guys, stay safe. Thanks for the comments, guys. Talk to you soon. Cheers.
See you all soon, lads. Take care.